MRP or our extreme mass. It's got a boatload of protein in there, and it's got a handful of multivitamins. So that blender right there, if we were making protein in it, would be full of protein pretty much, or an isolate, or let's say our MRP. And this much would be like 30 different vitamins and minerals. We have to make sure that those little bit, and if you're doing something like niacin, it might be this much in that entire blender. We have to make sure that niacin is in every scoop that you take. So sometimes, besides all that milling and sifting and all that other things we have to do, we'll put it in a blender like this. We'll pre-blend those small items, vitamins, minerals, into a protein base. It might go from here into a second blender to create a bigger base, and then into a final blender, so that we can get a totally complete homogeneous blend by the time we're through with it. A big difference from just throwing it in a blender. And by the way, we didn't start this way. And when I started manufacturing back in 2001, there was no regulations. It was me and Roberto. We had a 5-gallon drum, bucket, paint bucket, clean one. We bought them there. We weren't that bad. We had our product was called Extreme Muscle Stack. Now it's called Extreme Nitric Stack. We poured our in there and we'd shake it. And common sense told us we couldn't fill it, so that makes sense to you. But you don't realize there's an exact level scientifically to validate. So we would shake it over our heads. I'd hand it to him, he'd hand it back to me, and that's how we make it. I'm not joking, that's how we get a product. You see that line he just went for capsules? That's all automated. Yeah, a person screws the cap on and stuff, but years ago, we had a tray, we put a hole in the bottom of the tray, we poured all the capsules in there, and somebody 1, 2, 3, 4, went up to 30. Then we thought we were really cool when somebody said, well, what are you doing? Just take the bottle, put it on the scale, put 30 in there, hit the net button, and then zeroes out and just fill it till it goes back to zero. Like, wow, that's cool. We've gone from all of that to all of this. And since we started manufacturing in 2001, but we started the company in 1997. This room is identical. So this big room here, that's packaging number 1. That's all protein. This is where we do all our amino acids, our pre-workouts, our post-workouts, our reload, intra, alpha, EAA, all the amino acids go here. You can see it's a smaller room. The bottles are a lot smaller. In that room, we have those big 5-gallon drums at 2-gallon. So come on over here. So each stage might be done at a different time. So we might be weighing stuff. Blending is usually about a 12-minute to 15-minute blend. Probably 20 minutes to 30 minutes to put it in, 20 to 30 minutes to get it out, and then 2 hours to sanitize the room afterwards. That blend might sit around now for another 3 days in a staging before it goes into a packaging room. We might have taken that, the pharmacy room and weighed it out, and that might stage for a day or two, and then go into the blending room. So it could be about a week to 2 weeks, sometimes just running straight through. All those processes, blending, coming here. Let me check this another one. So this is the part that we really, really excel. So we have, they're not here now, they're outside. We have 3, this is where we make the capsules. We have 3 units. One does 120,000 caps an hour, and the other ones do 40,000 caps an hour. They can be loaded up. A person can start each one and run all machines all day long and get what's at 120, 200,000 caps an hour with one person. The problem with that is, to make those machines run, you've got to add a lot of chemicals. Magnesium stearate, stearic acid, titanium dioxide, silicon dioxide, all of these chemicals that people say are carcinogenic or toxic. I don't know whether they are or not. I don't get involved. I will not put any in there whatsoever. The only thing that goes into my capsule is the active ingredient and the capsule itself. So what happens is, on those machines, they sit in storage most of the year because we can only run 2 or 3 products, actually 2 of them are for sale now, that don't require us to add additives. Instead, you'll see 5 of these machines in here. These run, instead of 40 to 120,000 caps an hour, this will run about 8 to 12, sometimes 15,000 caps an hour with one person sitting there all day long operating it. So I'm going to try, if everybody can kind of come around here, and then she's going to do it. And I'm going to try and explain it. So you all squeeze in here. So, is this full? Okay. This is, oh, look at that. This is the first time I've done this in about 10 years because they don't allow me in here usually because it's real product and I mess it all up and I spill everything all over, so I'm not normally allowed. So these 2 rings get put on this first turntable. Up here are all the capsules. And she's going to turn the machine on. What happens is every hole here gets filled with a closed capsule. Can everybody see this? Then she'll actually physically separate these 2 rings, which I'm not going to do yet. When she does, the top of the capsule will be up here, the bottom will be down here. And she'll put the bottom over here, the auger will come over, fill the entire capsule, When that's done, so make sure they're all filled, scrape off the remains, put them back together in a sandwich, put it on this wing, it goes inside, pneumatically seals it, the capsule gets shut and it drops into the bin. And she's got to do all three of these processes, 1, 2, 3. There you go. And it takes actually years for them to become proficient at doing this. Because when they start, they're doing about 200 caps an hour. And most of them are broken, spilled, powder all over the place, and it's a mess. What you're not going to see today, which you'll see on a normal tour, which is the coolest part, is that they're running something like thermal fuel or something that's yellow or brown. This entire room will be brown, yellow. The pipes will be covered in the ceiling tiles, all here, the machine, right? Everything can be colored, okay? Because the powder goes through the air. Some of it sinks down, some of it is fine. So how do we get that from going all over the place? So in each of these rooms, we have what's known as positive air pressure. About 3 to 4 pounds of positive air pressure in here. So we're doing 5 different products right now. You'd be in the middle here, you couldn't even breathe. Because with positive air pressure, all those fines get forced out of, even though these are sealed, they're not airtight, get forced out of here. And then the returns take them up where they get scrubbed. So in here, you'll get everything. But from this room, it cannot get in that room because that room has positive air pressure. So those fines, even though there's an air dust collector and all, you still have those. So after every time we manufacture product, we then have to sanitize this entire room and get it looking like this. When it's cool, people take a regular tour in operations because they'll see a clean room, a filthy room, so they'll see what we have to do. Now it looks like we set this up for you to make it look all pretty. But you ask anybody who's been here before, this is what a room looks like before we start every time. So I'm going to let her start the machine. You all guys can walk around and just when you're done, come back out the other side so you can see. So the real thing here is the efficiency difference. When you get our product, it's going through this machine at 12,000, 8,000, 10,000 instead of 100,000. But when you get my product, there is nothing in there. There's no chemical additives and not a single thing. With one exception, if I have a product like vitamin B12, with a microgram dosage, it won't fit in the capsule, it's too small. So I have to blend that with a organic rice so I can fill that capsule. That's the only way to make it. So that's the only time we'll put something in. So you can see here, if everybody can walk around, the cap's going in, that's going to get sealed, and she's going to keep this going as you all walk through and see it. And then she's going to dump them into the bucket. Okay? And then here, so let me explain one more thing as we go. Yes, okay. Not on the floor. I got to be careful. Every time I do a tour, somebody then writes, oh yeah, no. So this whole area here is a surface area that comes in contact with food. So this towel will be scooped up into this tray, and then it can be dumped back in. Nothing from here or any place else can do that. Only that top surface area. So there's a whole science to this because now you know the blend. You know how I make that blend, right? Before, because you guys walk down the list so everybody can see. But I now have to make sure that I have 500 milligrams in there if that's a 500 milligram capsule, or you guys will get the proper blend, but just not enough of it. So every 10 to 15 rings, depending on the product, they have to pull out 10 capsules. They bring it down to a scale, not that big scale, there's usually a scale right here, it's not set up today. And they've got to weigh it out to make sure that they weigh out 10, divide it by 10, it's got to be within 1% of the weight. If it's not, then we're giving you the right product, but not enough. Then they put it into a little jig to see if it fits within that jig. Because if it's too tight, that means it wasn't shut. If it's too loose, it's over tight. By the time you get it, it cracks open. So there's a lot of these what we call critical control points. Like in that blend room, we have a 1% tolerance. What goes in, when it comes out, before it moves on, we have to weigh it, tear it out, and make sure it has 1% over or under. Same in a room like this. And those critical control points go straight through the entire process. This room over here, which looks like it's not totally set up to see, but all those capsules then get dropped into here. The middle machine that says IQ is a metal check, so they go through 2 metal checks, here and online, and then it gets dropped into the third machine that polishes all that excess powder off, separates any broken ones, so we separate broken ones here and another time on the line, just to make sure that powder is not on there and there's no broken ones that get into your jar. Because you get one broken one through the whole jar, you call us up, you yell, you scream, you curse, and we say, I'm sorry, we'll send you a brand new one. But we don't want that to happen, so Everybody can just walk through and watch the process if you want, and then come out when you're done.